Welcome to Syntax. Today we have a show on Chrome's new Tools MCP server. This is actually kind of nifty as a way to both help you debug as well as figure out what's going on in your website, programmatically control, figure out network issues that are going on. There's a whole bunch of use cases. So we're going to talk about that today. My name is Wes Boss. I'm a developer from Canada. With me, as always, is Mr. Scott Talinsky. How you doing, Scott?
Oh, man, I'm doing much better. Last week, at the start of the Ricky episode when we recorded, within like the first couple of moments, and it might have been before we hit record, I chipped my dang tooth on a glass straw. So the entire episode, I'm just sitting there like trying to like have a conversation, and my mouth is just like killing me. So
was it like a big chip?
You can kind of see it. It's this tooth right here. It just kind of chips in, kind of took out a little bit of the bottom. So no good. I haven't gotten anything done about it because it's gotten kind of less sensitive, but I'll get it looked at, I suppose.
Awesome. Well, not awesome. All right,
awesome.
Let's talk about
awesome indeed,
MCP server, though. Before we get started, two things: Meetup and Spooky Stories submission. We need you for both. October 27, we are going to be doing a meetup in San Francisco at Bear Bottle Beer Garden in Salesforce Park. We're in town for GitHub Universe. You don't have to actually be going to GitHub Universe to go to this. It's open to anybody. We're going to have a bunch of drinks, a bunch of swag, really good time. So if you're anywhere in the California area, or somewhere in California, or anywhere you want to fly down, come on out. October 27th. It's going to be a hoot. Go to syntax.fm/meetup and you can grab a ticket. They are free, but you do have to reserve one because space is limited. Second, Halloween's coming up. We need your spooky stories. This is an episode we do every single year where we read off the most terrifying spooky stories about web development in general. So have you taken down prod by accident? Have you published something that you shouldn't have? Have you let an SSL certificate expire? Have you dropped a database by accident, deleted all the records? We want to hear your most stick your head in the ground stories for Halloween. These are always awful to hear, but you learn a lot. So please go to syntax.fm/spooky and submit your story. We keep absolutely everything anonymous, so tell us your worst. So let's talk about like what the hell these things are really quickly, just so you have context if you've never used these things before. So Chrome DevTools, you probably know what those are, right? Those are the DevTools where you can pop it open, you have your console, you have your network access. There's several tabs in there. Actually, like maybe we haven't done that episode in a while as like tips for the DevTools. I think there's some nuggets in there. Everybody uses the console and that's about it. And there's so much more in there. MCP Server is a way to provide AI additional tools. So like an AI model on its own, you can talk back and forth to it, or you can give it content and it will give you content back. But when you need it to do things that it can't do, like visit a website, or like I built a MCP server that fetched the latest currencies, like just different tools. Like one tool I've made is the ability just to do math, right? Surprisingly, AI is not great at math. And when you use ChatGPT, they're using all of these tools behind the scenes. You might not necessarily know it, but it's not simply just the single model that knows everything. So MCP servers are super useful, and being able to use them when debugging and build websites is extremely useful. And I'm really glad to see that Chrome has now rolled out a MCP server that will allow your AI tool to visit websites, click around, look in the console, look at your network, run tests, screenshot, grab the HTML, all of that good stuff for you, and it can be very helpful for a number of reasons. We'll talk about that. But MCP servers, not just for your code editor, right, Scott?
Yeah, there's a lot of tools there. And I think when at first I was like, okay, it's the DevTools MCP that gives us access to the DevTools. But it's more than that. It is fully automating the browser. And I, initially, when I thought about this, I did think about how many little workflows that I'm automating right now or doing with Playwright, or maybe even the agent itself is just like trying to fire up the dev server and visit the site. How much more of that you could get finely tuned in a way, but also develop really nice feedback loops of fixing issues potentially, or examining things that are actually rendered on the page, getting access to that massive set of tools, at least most of them that exist in the Chrome Dev Tools. This got me very excited, and I think more and more lately, as I use a lot of these agentic flows, the more I do this, I find MCP servers to be, man, they are just, I'm really excited by MCP. And I was at Microsoft's campus, and Kenzie Dodds was there, and he's like so up on MCP, and he was just chatting about it the whole time. And it's gotten me into such a position where I'm like really feeling the future of MCP and like seeing the big picture here about why these things matter. So the fact that soon after those conversations were taking place, the Chrome dev team releases this, and it's like, yes, okay, we have another really great MCP tool that we can take advantage of. I see a lot of possibilities. And then when you link these tools up, like there's a Figma MCP server. You could essentially take a design, you could take it from Figma, you could bring it into code, you could load it up, and you could verify it. You could take screenshots, you could compare the screenshots. There's so much potential when you're combining these tools that I'm pretty stoked about.
That's the idea, at least, right? Whether that is doable yet, I certainly think that we will be able to do that at some point, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, no, very exciting, yeah. But before we get too deep, Wes, let me take a moment to talk about Sentry before we... Yeah. Quick little ad break here. Sentry is amazing, and Sentry has a great MCP server, but Sentry's AI tools, other than that, are really great. I had a really awful bug in an app lately, and I stuck Seer on it, which is their AI tool that kind of gets through the garbage and finds the root cause of issues. And man, this was like not like I read the logs, I read the Sentry errors, I read everything, and I could not find it. And I clicked the Seer button and was like, hey, did you look at this env variable? Make sure it's set. And I'm like, yeah, of course it's set. Seer, thanks. And I went, and it was a typo in the env definition. It was just a typo.
Oh, and, man.
Seer found it. And I don't know how it found it. It was magic to me. So, yeah, wild stuff. So thank you, Sentry. So check it out at sentry.io/syntax. Sign up, get 2 months for free. These are serious tools, and man, really loving them.
So the Chrome DevTools MCP server, it shares a lot of overlap with the like Puppeteer MCP server, meaning that like what it does is when it needs to visit a website, it will fire up an instance of Chrome. It actually fires up a new instance. It won't connect to your existing, like you just have your regular Chrome open up and everything. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Like the technical reason behind it is that you need to have remote debugging running on a Chrome instance in order for remote debugging to be able to communicate back and forth with it. So that's the one technical reason. And probably the other reason, because immediately I was like, well, I can't, let's just connect to I have my regular thing. I have all my dev tools open. I have all my extensions, I
got all my stuff.
I got all my stuff here. Just connect to that one. Don't make another one. And I still hope that they will figure out some way to do that. And I know that I can fire up my own remote debugging, but the reason behind it is security, because like you probably shouldn't give a rogue AI agent, which has other MCP tools hooked up to it as well, which could be also malicious. There's nothing from stopping another MCP server from trying to use this one, visiting your bank account and then sending all of your money to somebody else. So there's certainly a security issue there. So that's why it fires up a brand new instance of Chrome that you have. So getting MCP server set up is you go into wherever you configure your MCP server. So whether that's your ChatGPT or Claude Chat, or whether that's your VS Code or your Cursor, or whether that's you're simply writing a script with like the OpenAI SDK, and you simply want to provide a list of MCP servers, you just give it this npx command, and it will fire up an instance of that, and it gives you access to all of the tools. In VS Code, it actually is kind of nice because it gives you a listing of what all the different tools are. So you can see
the VS Code MCP stuff has gotten a level up.
Yeah. Like list console messages, hover, handle dialogue, get network request, right? I think the Puppeteer one has a bit more of tools, but I've been actually able to use most of these things, which is like navigate to a page, find an input, enter in the thing, type some text, hit OK, wait for 10 seconds, look for a thing on the page. So you can programmatically control your website with most of these simply just by asking in the chat.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. And like you said earlier off the jump, like beyond coding, you could automate some real world stuff with these things, right? More than just you connect.
Let's do an example here.
Yeah, my brain initially goes to, I can use this to debug, I can use this to performance track, I can use this to work on the web. But like, you can also connect your MCP server and you can say, let's go to scotttolinsky.com and grab the first blog post there and use that blog post to create a demo. I mean, I guess that's coding too. You could have it automate things within the browser. Now, I'm currently using Comet to do some of that, right? And I think that world is still opening up for a lot of people, like absolutely automating using the browser with these tools. Yeah.
So here's an example. I just said, visit Domino's Pizza. I spelt it wrong and show me the sizes of pizzas that they sell. So it fired up a new instance, took a snapshot of Dominos.com, clicked on some pages. It's clicking around. It's navigating around, taking more snapshots. It's basically just looking for what it wants. It went to about Domino's Pizza / pizza sizes. Like it just imagines. So obviously it's not perfect. There we go. It ended up finding pizza size offered. It's medium and large. Just maybe a good example of where it's not perfect, because obviously they sell more of those. But that's just a perfect example of how you can use it to programmatically visit sites. And I think,
but also, Wes, you could have web search in any of these tools do the web searching for you.
Yeah.
Retrieve that URL, the exact URL, and then pass that along to the Chrome DevTools MCP server to do that, instead of having like the AI try to just guess.
Yeah, exactly. Try to figure it out. I also asked it to visit my own personal website and tell me how many hot tips were there. And it first went to the first page. And then it told me that there was 433 because it found it on the pagination. And then I said, find the 152th hot tip. And it just imagined the URL structure. So I had to tell it, hey, look at the anchor links,
Yeah. Hey.
Look at the you just imagine what the pagination URL was, right? So it's just one tool out of many. I think you have to do a lot more prompting and writing instructions for it to get it to work really well.
Yeah. Just another tool.
One big thing I've been interested in this is one of them was like being able to programmatically visit websites and do scraping and whatnot. But the other one was simply just getting access to the console errors and pushing that back into the chat, because that's a big one for me, where if I'm running the terminal within my editor, the terminal, like if you have a server running, those errors are pretty good. It's not perfect. I'm still frustrated at the like firing up a new server and getting the errors back from the terminal into your chat.
Yeah.
But I have not found a great way to do that with client side errors, right? So there's kind of a couple ways you can go about this, right? If you want your console.logs to show up and be accessible to your chat, especially when you have like syntax errors and things that are thrown, there's a couple options, right? So in VS Code, you can say open link, and then I have a Vite server running on port 5173. But getting this, like debugs, you can see this is the actual browser debug console. Mm-hmm. Getting this information into the chat, like I've asked it, I must be missing something here, but like I don't think that the chat has context into this debug console, right? And
did
then
you check the tools? There's like a little tools drop down or something.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Edit, fetch, extensions, problems, right? Like it can access the problems tab.
Interesting. Where's the debug console? Yeah.
But I don't see anything where it's like has access to the debug console, which is frustrating. So like usually I just have to copy paste it into here. But like wouldn't it be better for it to just know what errors were happening in my console? That would be really nice. So the MCP server will have the ability to do it, right? So if I stop this here and I'll say visit localhost 5173 and see what the console errors are. So now it's running the MCP server, and then it ran the tool list console messages, and then it found 2 errors. The fav icon is missing, and then it also found the unexpected token. So that was great. That was totally connected, where I said, visit this website and figure out what's going on in this case. Only thing it didn't do is fix it, which I guess I didn't ask it to do that. So I'll just say, go ahead and fix it. And then it should be able to apply that in my index HTML. There we go. Beautiful.
Yeah.
One more
Haters are going to say that you could have fixed that yourself.
Impossible. I needed to boil the ocean in order to find the missing semicolon. The last thing is that Chrome itself has like AI insights built right into DevTools. So if you have a console error and you turn on the AI insights in Chrome, it will actually suggest to you how to fix it. Now it's kind of like a weird world because
how do you turn those on? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let me bring it in here. So this is my like regular Chrome here. There we go. So I brought back this actual error here, and unexpected token, and then there's a understand this error. You can click on it. I don't have that. I haven't been using. So it's somewhere in your settings.
Okay.
You can turn it on. Here we go. Turn on console insights to receive AI assistance. Okay. Well, for some reason it turned itself off. So here we go.
Oh, AI innovations.
You go to settings, AI innovations. Oh. Turn that sucker on. Okay.
Oh, I do not have this in Comet browser. So
yes. So I was using
Comet browser. No
Edge,
thanks.
And I've been using Edge for like over a year now, so I kind of missed it. And then here we go. It
that makes sense. It's not part of Chromium. It's part of Chrome.
Exactly. Yeah. The browsers themselves. I think Firefox is also getting something similar to this as well, and I wouldn't be surprised. But my question here is like, do we need to bring all of these? All of the dev tools to the editor,
right?
Or should the Chrome itself just be the editor, right? Like it knows about all of my files, it knows about everything, it knows about all the requests. Mm-hmm. I actually asked the folks at Chrome. I had a call with them the other day. I was like, at what point are you just trying to bring everything out of Chrome via MCP servers into your editor? And at what point would it make more sense to just make Chrome itself the editor, right? Like they tried that years ago with the like local mapping and but
saving files from the
it never
tools.
cut on. I don't think it will ever cut on. You're essentially just rebuilding VS Code at that point.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. It is one of those things that comes up all the time.
Let's talk about what can the Chrome MCP server do other than visit things and get your console, right? Analyze performance and make changes based on that. That's probably the biggest one. Is this site feels slow, or what's my largest contentful paint? You know, all of those web dev metrics. You can ask it to look at those stats and figure out what is actually causing it. So I asked the Chrome MCP server, can you visit syntax.fm and list all external fetch XHR requests that are made within the first 10 seconds? So it went ahead and found all that. And one kind of interesting thing, I didn't even know we were doing this, but it was we're hosting our fonts on your domain name, talin.ski.
Yeah.
So
yes.
That's something I didn't know. And I also asked it like what the biggest downloads were. And it went ahead and figured that out. I said, is there any bundles on my personal website that were too large that could be possibly slowing the website down? And I feel like it did a pretty good job at that. Whereas like, obviously I can just scan that really quickly and I know, but for people who don't necessarily know what is too large? What are possible performance problems? It's nice to be able to just type it in the box and get that info.
Yeah, it's also nice to be able to take a screenshot from this because, again, you could have a workflow where you have a design, you take a screenshot, you compare the design with the screenshot, whether that the design is potentially coming from like a Figma MCP, and be able to verify, what it's off, what's not right, because I do find that AI struggles with UI stuff pretty consistently. And so being able to have those tools are really nice. But also you could even take a screenshot so that way you could know what the AI is even seeing when it's doing some of these tasks. Like there's nothing worse than something failing and you're not exactly sure exactly what's going on.
The amount of times that I've said it's just a white screen, or you just put black text on black background is huge. Which it's another point that is like the accessibility tools are not available in this MCP server, and I think that would really help. But the amount of times I've had to just simply screenshot something and put it into the chat, and then it goes, I see. So the screenshot tool is super helpful. Still, writing files with chats seems to be a big problem. In this case, it had to put it in a temp directory and then ask me to run a move command to move the file from the temp directory to my local file system.
Another really great opportunity here is to set up a feedback loop of performance fixes. There's a ton of stuff inside of Chrome developer tools from last Contentful Paint. Man, we did a whole episode on largest. Man, I'm so bad with words and acronyms. Largest Contentful Paint. There's a whole bunch of these tools, and they're available to these MCP servers to be able to go off, find the issues, and then potentially take that information back, pipe it back in, and fix the problem, which is just this nice loop that you can get of performance, fix, console log, error, fix, a nice back and forth there.
There we go. I just ran it on syntax.fm, and it came back with, look at all the raw data for the performance stats on syntax.fm, and now it's going to go ahead and LCP 744. This is a good LCP score according to Core Web Vitals. Good. LCP breakdown.
Yeah, that's another opportunity is give me plain English about these things, right? Like run perform and then actually just tell me, explain like I'm 5, what is going on with the loading in this site.
So this is obviously Chrome only, but the question is like not everybody is simply using this on a desktop, right? If you are using it as part of a script or you're running like Cloud Code on a server or something like that, then you need to be able to give it access to a Chrome instance if it is unable to spin one up itself. And you can mostly run like Puppeteer headless on most of these servers. I've done it many times. But if you have a Chrome instance that's simply just running, like you could have a Mac Mini in your office, you could run it and expose the DevTools IP address to the internet, and then you can give it that actual URL. And then anytime that MCP server needs to use a browser, then it will simply it'll call out to that external Chrome instance.
You could use Tailscale or anything like that. I run a Mac Mini right there that I do a lot of remote stuff on. So
yeah, Tailscale, Cloudflare tunnels, all that good stuff might be a good option. Although you have to worry about like you're just opening up a browser to the internet, so you make sure you put some authentication or IP whitelist, something like that on there.
Yeah,
I do think that you can use this with Edge. So when you start up in Microsoft Edge, you're one of the flags you can run it is the remote port, and it will give you a port, and then it'll start up a DevTools remote server that you can remotely connect to. So I believe with the flags that you pass to the mcp.json, you can pass they have this thing called connect URL in the docs that is simply just mentioned, and there's no examples. It's not even part of the docs. It's just in like one of the little blurbs. So I'm pretty sure you can use that to connect to a browser that is not Chrome. So if you're running like a Chromium instance, or I'm assuming an Edge, I don't know that you necessarily would want to, because I don't see the benefit to it right now. If you were to use a different one, it's not like it's going to be using, your logged in state of your Microsoft Edge instance, it will still fire up a brand new instance of Chrome, and you would have to manually log in to all of those things. There's this thing called browser-use, which if you're trying to like scrape websites and pretend that you are a human, that seems to be what most people are using in this space. It's like kind of a step forward past Puppeteer. And they also have hosted versions as well. If you just need a quick browser that's running in the cloud, you can pay them for that.
So limitations of this thing, like what you can't you do, Wes mentioned already once that it doesn't have access to the accessibility issues. There's tools out there that you can run on your code base that will check for accessibility markers and stuff like that. But having that in the browser would be super nice and super handy. Granted, you might be able to do some of that even. I know you can't do all these things, but at least like color checking and stuff you might be able to do with the screenshots. But it does feel like it would be nice to just have that right baked in there.
Totally. And you can run like Lighthouse from the CLI to do those types of things. But since it is part of the DevTools, I would like access to that via the MCP server as well. And I also I asked it, hey, check for accessibility issues. And all it did was it ran like 40 lines of JavaScript programmatically on the website and just checked for like ARIA labels and like text on all of them. It didn't do a great job that like something like the Axe Suite or something would do. So I would like a little bit better accessibility tools built into this, and I kind of bet that's coming at some point. And then there's direct access with all the CSS tooling as well. I asked it when you open up your DevTools and you inspect element on like a H1 tag, it'd be nice to know like what color is it? And you can get all of these things with like get computed style. And that's what it actually is doing when you ask it questions. But full access to the full CSS suite. You can see what CSS variables are. You can see which line of code things were written on. I think that would be really nice to have full access. And also like color,
so nice. Yeah.
Color issues,
Yeah.
What's a good color for this? Change this color in dark mode, loop through all of my paragraph tags and make sure there's nothing there. It kind of gets more into the accessibility side of things, but
for this to work, AI would have to actually understand CSS, which we all know does not. It has no clue.
All it can do is a purple gradient in CSS. So that's all we got. An absolute position everything.
Yeah.
So that is the Chrome MCP server. Big fan of that. This is really exciting. I think these are probably early days for this type of thing, and I bet that more of these tools will start to show up over time. But certainly check it out. Throw it in your editor. Throw it in your chat app. Even if you just like turn it off. I don't like having all my MCP servers turned on all the time because I feel like it just clutters the context. So I'll just turn them on project by project as I need them, rather than having them turn on for absolutely everything, with the exception of like maybe Context 7.
Yeah, Context 7 for sure. And I did want to say before we get out of here, Wes, while we were, I was checking out the new Spotlight tools that Sentry released, and this is not an ad read, but we were talking a little bit about the front end logging and connecting all these things together. And the Spotlight by Sentry has an MCP now that I think would be very good for this, because you're still getting like Sentry's logging, you're getting it locally, and now you're getting an MCP to be able to connect to that. So this is like hot off the press, so I haven't gotten to use it yet. By the time you're hearing this, I'll have this deeply embedded into my project. But I'm stoked on this because, like I said, the Sentry debugging tools have been very good with the AI because they have so much data and they understand how to use that data. So
context, baby.
Give this a try for sure. Yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.